The thoughts that visit you at 2 a.m. are not random. They are not anxiety. They are not weakness. They are your subconscious showing you exactly what it has accepted as real about your life. Most people try to silence those thoughts. They distract. They scroll. They force themselves to sleep. But those thoughts are not your enemy. They are the most honest thing about you. They are the gap between what you say you believe and what you actually believe. And until you understand that gap, nothing on the outside will ever permanently change. Think about it for a moment. During the day, you stay busy. You have tasks. You have noise. You have distractions that keep your surface mind occupied. You can tell yourself the affirmations. You can visualize the life you want. You can repeat the words and feel for a moment that something is shifting. But then, the night comes. The house gets quiet. The phone goes still. And in that silence, something surfaces. A thought you didn't invite. A feeling that doesn't match what you were affirming all day. A quiet voice that says, "But what if none of it actually works for you?" That voice is not random. That voice is the truth of your programming. The subconscious mind does not rest. It does not take a break when you go to sleep. It does not pause when the lights go out. It runs, constantly, and everything it runs on is belief. Not the beliefs you choose consciously during the day, not the ones you write in your journal or repeat in the mirror, the beliefs that were deposited long before you had the awareness to question them, the beliefs that were formed in moments of pain, in moments of rejection, in moments where life taught you something about yourself and your subconscious filed it away as permanent truth. Those beliefs are your actual operating system. And at 2 a.m., when the distractions disappear, you finally get to see what is really running underneath. Most people are afraid of that moment. They fight the silence. They fill it with anything that keeps them from feeling what is actually there, and that is the problem, because what you resist in the night, you repeat in the day. The thought you silence at 2 a.m. does not disappear. It goes back underneath. It continues to shape the decisions you make without knowing why, the opportunities you avoid without a logical reason, the relationships you sabotage before they get too real, the success you reach toward but never quite allow yourself to hold. All of it is the programming, and the programming revealed itself to you in the dark, and you looked away. Here is what you need to understand. Your subconscious is not trying to torture you at night. It is trying to show you something. It is surfacing the material that needs to be seen. The fears that have been running your life from behind the curtain. The identity you actually hold about yourself. Not the identity you present to the world. Not the version of you that shows up polished on the outside. The version that lives inside. The one that whispers at 2 a.m., "You are not enough. This will not work for you." People like you don't get to have that. Those whispers are not prophecy. They are programming. And programming can be changed, but not by ignoring it, not by drowning it in positive thoughts. Only by seeing it clearly, understanding where it came from, and making a deliberate decision to replace it at the level it lives. The level it lives is deep, much deeper than your conscious thoughts. Most people try to change their outer reality by changing their thinking at the surface level. They repeat affirmations with their conscious mind, while the subconscious sits underneath completely unmoved. Because the subconscious does not respond to words alone. It responds to repetition. It responds to emotion. It responds to what you consistently feel to be true when no one is watching. When the day is over, when the performance stops, when you are left alone with what you actually believe, that is the moment of truth. That is 2 a.m. And here is something even deeper. Your subconscious does not know the difference between a real experience and a deeply felt, imagined one. It does not know the difference between what happened to you and what you have been telling yourself happened to you. It only knows what you have confirmed through feeling, through repeated emotional experience, through the stories you have run so many times that they feel like facts. This is why the 2 a.m. thoughts feel so real, because to your subconscious they are real. They are not thoughts, they are conclusions. Conclusions it reached based on everything you have fed it, consciously and unconsciously, over the course of your entire life. And right now, in this moment, your outer reality is a direct reflection of those conclusions. Not of what you want, not of what you deserve, of what your subconscious has accepted as true. This is not meant to discourage you. This is the most freeing thing you could ever understand. Because if your reality is a reflection of your subconscious programming, then changing that programming changes everything. Not someday, not with years of effort, but at the level of belief, at the level of identity, at the level of what you accept, as real about yourself in the quiet hours when no one is performing and nothing is pretending. The work is not outside of you. It never was. The work is in the 2 a.m. moment, in what you do with the thoughts that surface, in whether you silence them or finally decide to look at them with open eyes. And that is exactly what this is about. You have been trying to change your life from the outside. You have been chasing the right routine, the right mindset, the right set of habits. And still, something keeps pulling you back. Not because you are broken, not because change is impossible for you, but because the change you have been making has been happening at the wrong level. Think of your mind as a house. The conscious mind is the ground floor, bright, visible, easy to rearrange. You can move the furniture, you can paint the walls, you can make it look completely different from the outside. But the foundation sits beneath all of that, the subconscious. And the foundation does not care what you put on the ground floor. It holds the structure. It determines what can actually stand. And right now, your foundation was poured long before you had any say in the matter. It was shaped by what you experienced as a child, by what you were told about who you are, by what life taught you in your most vulnerable moments. And everything you have built since then has been built on top of that original structure. This is why two people can follow the exact same program, read the exact same books, use the exact same strategies, and get completely different results. It is not discipline that separates them. It is not intelligence. It is not luck. It is the foundation. One person is building on a subconscious belief that success is natural and available. The other is building on a subconscious belief that success is for other people. And no matter how hard the second person works, the foundation keeps pulling the structure back down. That pull is what you feel at 2 a.m., that sinking, quiet certainty that something is not right, that voice that says, "You are working so hard, and it is still not happening." That is not reality speaking. That is your foundation, and you have the power to re-pour it. But before you can re-pour it, you have to know exactly what is in it. And that is the gift of the 2 a.m. moment. Most people have never actually sat with their real beliefs. They have been too busy managing the surface, too busy staying productive, staying positive, staying distracted. But the moment the day ends and the silence begins, the real inventory surfaces. And if you can learn to read it, you have access to something most people never find. You have access to the exact beliefs that are creating your current reality. So what do your 2 a.m. thoughts actually tell you? They tell you your relationship with worthiness, whether deep down you believe you deserve the things you are reaching for, or whether some part of you is convinced that wanting them is foolish, that hoping for them is dangerous, that getting close to them will only make the fall more painful. They tell you your relationship with identity, whether the person living inside of you matches the person you are trying to become, or whether there is a deep, quiet mismatch, a version of yourself that still sees the old story as the real one. They tell you your relationship with safety, whether your nervous system believes that growth is safe, that being seen is safe, that receiving is safe, because if it does not, it will keep you small, not out of cruelty, but out of protection. The subconscious mind's primary function is survival, not joy, not success, not the life you are visualizing. Survival. It will do whatever it has learned keeps you safe. And if staying small, staying invisible, staying in familiar pain is what it learned to associate with safety, it will pull you back to that place every single time you start to move beyond it. This is not self-sabotage in the way most people use that word. It is not weakness. It is not a character flaw, it is a deeply intelligent system doing exactly what it was trained to do, but the training was given to it without your conscious consent. It was written in early experiences, in the moment someone told you that you were too much, in the moment you tried and failed and decided it meant something permanent about you. In the moment you watched someone you loved struggle and your mind quietly concluded that this is what life is, that this is what you can expect. All of that went in, and it has been running ever since. This is the moment to stop blaming yourself, because you were never operating from weakness. You were operating from programming, and there is a profound difference between those two things. Weakness implies there is something wrong with you. Programming simply means there is something to update, and you can update it, not by forcing new beliefs onto an old foundation, not by overpowering the subconscious with willpower, but by going to the level where the beliefs actually live and working there. The level where beliefs live is the feeling level, not the thinking level, the feeling level. This is why traditional affirmations often fail. You are using words, but the subconscious speaks in feeling, in emotional experience, in the vivid, repeated, emotionally charged impressions that over time become the new normal. This is how the old programming was written. Not through logic, through feeling, through experience, through repetition. And this is how the new programming must be written. At 2 a.m., when the thought surfaces, this is never going to work for you. Something happens inside your body before you even process the words. A contraction, a sinking, a familiar weight. That is the feeling layer of the belief. And that feeling layer is far more powerful than the thought itself, because thoughts can be argued with, but feelings are accepted by the subconscious as evidence, as proof of what is real. Every time you feel that sinking certainty, your subconscious registers it as confirmation, as data that says, yes, this belief is still true, and it deepens the groove. The programming becomes more embedded, the pattern becomes more automatic. But here is the other side of that truth. The same process that deepened the old programming can be used to create the new. If feelings are the language of the subconscious, then feeling differently, consistently, deliberately, is how you rewrite the code. Not with force, not with strain, but with the calm, certain, repeated experience of a new emotional reality. The subconscious does not know the difference between what is happening in the outer world and what is being deeply, genuinely felt in the inner world. It only knows what you are feeling. And if you learn to feel the new belief before it shows up in your reality, your subconscious will begin to accept it. Not as a wish, not as a hope, as fact. This is the real work, not the work of grinding harder, not the work of thinking more positively on the surface. The work of going inside, of choosing, in the moments of silence, to consciously feel what your new programming would feel like. Not pretending, not forcing, but genuinely, quietly choosing a different emotional experience and holding it long enough for it to register. Long enough for the subconscious to begin accepting it. Long enough for the old groove to lose its automatic power, and this is especially powerful at night, because at night, the conscious mind is tired, its filters are down, its resistance is lower. The gate between the conscious and the subconscious is more open than it is at any other time of day. What you feed your mind in, that open state goes deeper than it would at any other moment. This is why the 2 a.m. thoughts land so hard, because you are in a state of heightened receptivity. The programming that hits you in those quiet hours goes straight through. But that same receptivity works in your favor. The same open gate that lets the fear in can let the new belief in if you choose to use it that way. You are closer than you think, not to the life you want, to understanding why it has not arrived yet. And understanding is not a small thing. Understanding is the beginning of everything, because you cannot change what you cannot see. And for the first time, you are seeing it clearly. The old programming made sense once. It was built for a version of you that needed protection, a version that was younger, more vulnerable, less aware, a version that could not yet distinguish between a temporary experience and a permanent truth. And so the subconscious did what it always does. It took the experience, it made it mean something, and it stored that meaning as law. But you are not that version of you anymore. You have outgrown the programming. The only thing keeping it alive is the fact that you have not yet consciously chosen to replace it. That changes now. The replacement does not happen through force. Say that to yourself slowly. It does not happen through force. Trying to overpower your subconscious beliefs with conscious effort is like trying to hold the ocean back with your hands. The subconscious is older, deeper, faster, and far more persistent than your conscious will. You will exhaust yourself, and you will keep waking up at 2 a.m. with the same thoughts, because nothing underneath has actually changed. The approach is not force. The approach is depth. Going deeper than the thought. Going deeper than the affirmation. Going to the place where the belief lives in your body, in your nervous system, in the emotional memory that your subconscious treats as identity. And there, in that deep place, introducing something new. Here is how this actually begins. It begins with awareness without judgment. When the 2 a.m. thought arrives, you do not fight it, you do not panic, you do not reach for your phone to escape it. You stay, you breathe, and you simply observe it. There is the belief, not, I am broken because I have this belief, not, this proves nothing will ever change, just observation. There is the belief, because the moment you can observe a belief, you are no longer inside it. You are watching it, and that is the beginning of distance. And distance is the beginning of choice. From that place of quiet observation, you ask a different kind of question. Not, why do I always feel this way? That question keeps you inside the story. Instead, you ask, what would it feel like if this were no longer true? Not, what would it look like? What would it feel like? In your body, in your chest, in the quality of your breath. What would the inner experience be if this belief simply did not exist anymore? Sit with that question. Let it open something. Because the subconscious responds to felt questions far more than to stated answers. When you genuinely feel into a different possibility, you are already beginning to rewrite the code. Then you take it one step further. You introduce the new feeling deliberately, not as a performance, not as something you are pretending to feel while secretly believing the opposite, but as a genuine inner experiment. What does it feel like to be someone for whom this is already resolved? What does it feel like to be someone who knows quietly and certainly that what they want is coming? Not with urgency, not with grasping, but with the settled, unshakable certainty of someone who simply knows. That feeling, held consistently, especially in the open, receptive state of the night, is the most powerful reprogramming tool available to you. Your subconscious cannot tell the difference between a deeply felt inner experience and an outer event. This is not a metaphor. This is how the mind actually functions. The nervous system responds to vivid, emotionally real inner experience the same way it responds to outer reality. The same neural pathways activate. The same emotional memories form. The same conclusions get stored. Which means that if you consistently feel the new belief, your subconscious will begin to accept it as real. Not someday, gradually, night by night, moment by moment. Each time you choose the felt experience of the new identity over the automatic pull of the old programming, the old groove weakens slightly, the new groove deepens slightly, and over time, the new belief becomes the automatic one, the one that surfaces at 2 a.m., the one that runs quietly beneath everything, the one that shapes your decisions, your perception, your reality. This is identity shift. Not changing what you do, changing what you are certain is true about you, because when the identity changes, the behavior follows naturally. The opportunities you notice change, the risks you are willing to take change. The people you allow into your life change. the version of the future you. Expect changes, not because you forced any of it, because the foundation changed, and everything built on a new foundation takes a new shape. You have been waiting for outer evidence before you allow yourself to believe. You have been saying, "When I see it, I will believe it." But that is not how the subconscious works. The subconscious does not update based on outer evidence alone. It updates based on what you accept as real inside. Before the evidence, the willingness to feel the new reality before it appears is not delusion. It is not wishful thinking. It is the exact mechanism through which all inner change, eventually, becomes outer change. Believe it first, feel it first, let the subconscious accept it first, and then watch as the outer world begins to rearrange itself to match the new programming. The 2 a.m. moment is not your enemy. It never was. It is the most important invitation you have ever received. An invitation to stop running from your own depth, to stop distracting yourself from the truth that lives underneath, to finally sit with what is really there, see it without fear, and make the deliberate choice to replace it with something that actually serves the life you are building. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not someone for whom this does not work. You are someone who is finally awake to how the work actually works. And that is everything. Because most people live their entire lives rearranging the furniture on the ground floor while the foundation remains untouched. You will not be one of those people. Not after this. The next time the silence comes and the thought arrives uninvited, you will know what it is. You will know it is not the truth. You will know it is the programming, and you will have a choice. You can let it confirm itself again, or you can breathe. Observe, and gently, deliberately, introduce the felt experience of who you are becoming. Not with effort, with certainty. The quiet, deep, unshakable certainty of someone who understands that the real change was never meant to happen on the outside first. It begins in the silence. It begins in the dark. It begins at 2 a.m., when everything false falls away and what is real finally has room to speak. And what is real, underneath all the old programming, underneath all the fear and the doubt and the years of believing the wrong things, is this. You are not your past conclusions. You are not the beliefs that were handed to you. You are the awareness that can observe all of it, choose differently, and build something new from the inside out. That is who you have always been. You are only now remembering it.